Mel here with a posture breakdown for you. Today we're going to be working into triangle. I wanted to start with this posture in this sequence because it's the apex of the standing series, and at this point in the practice we've been working really hard. Your heart rate is elevated, you're hot, you might be tired, and this is oftentimes where we start to let our form go a little bit. So this is going to be a great opportunity to just understand all the little micro adjustments, all of the proper alignment and engagement cues, something that you can think about from home and start to integrate more and more into your practice, okay? So let's start on one edge of your yoga mat, and you want to bring your toes and your heels together, touching nicely. You're going to inhale the arms up over the head and step the right foot out, a nice big 4-foot stance. Okay, so from here we want to make sure that we're building our foundation from the base up. Okay, so we're going to start with the feet. We want our feet about 4 feet distance apart, and this is something that we can adjust as we come into the pose a little deeper. Okay, we're going to start with the left foot today, turning your left toes out, turn it a 1/2 inch more, and what we're looking for here is a nice 90-degree angle between the 2 feet. Okay, so your 2 heels are in line with each other. And for any of the measurements, I always use the edges of my mat. Okay, so I'm trying to square my body with those edges of the mat, which are, the perfect ruler to help you find that alignment. So the right toes are turning in enough that the foot is in line with the shorts of the mat, not turning out, not turning too far in. We don't want that ankle to be compressed. We want to have a nice alignment with the foot. Same thing, left foot. The toes are turning out enough that your foot is in line with the left edge of your mat. Okay, so from here we're just going to bend the knee and sit down to bounce and bounce and bounce. Right, that's what you'll hear in the setup. And we do this for a number of reasons. We're trying to get that left hip joint nice and lubricated as we bounce into the stance. We're warming up that hip socket. Okay? And we're also setting up our form. Okay, we're trying to bring our thigh bicep, which is the fleshy part of your thigh, right, of that femur bone, that larger upper leg, parallel to the floor. Okay, the knee is stacked over the heel. And what I see a lot in this one is that the stance is too short, with the knee bending and the knee coming past the heel, you can see it, or the stance is too long, and then as you bend the knee is not quite getting over top of the heel. And then we're not working with the beautiful mechanics of the posture where we're stacking our bones. So the more you can stack your bones, the more efficient your energy is throughout the pose, the better it is for the joints themselves, and then also the more properly you can engage your muscles. Okay, so we're looking for that 90-degree angle, knee over heel, thigh bicep parallel to the floor. So another thing we're working at in this setup of the pose is the hip position. Okay, so our hip bones, which is those 2 points of the hips, you can feel them as you kind of press the front of your hips here, those bones that stick out. So those ones, we don't want them facing sideways like the long side of your mat. We want them to turn slightly towards the front leg, the bending leg. Okay, so a slight rotation. So as you bend that knee, you're letting your right hip, in this case your straight leg, that hip coming down and forward, bending the knee, bounce and bounce and bounce, making those adjustments, shortening, lengthening your stance into your 90 degrees. Okay? So that's your really strong setup in the legs. Your right leg is locked position. Try not to bend your knee. So as you press your knee back, root down through the foot heel. The outer edge of the foot is pressing down into the mat, and you're engaging that entire length of your leg, really engaging your glute muscles to get down nice and low into this stance. Okay? Your left foot is also pressing down equally into the floor. So if you notice that you're rolling to the side or you're feeling a little wobbly, I want you to just really root down as you find your stance. Okay, so that's kind of our leg foot position for this pose. And if your hips are really tight, it might be difficult for you to get your thigh bicep all the way parallel to the floor. So again, you're just working to the edge in your body that is available to you for today, okay? So let's start at the top. We're going to reach the arms apart. And we always start by pressing the hips slightly forward, bringing the body back, not a back bend, just lengthening and lifting. And then we bend. Bend the knee, bounce, and bounce, and bounce. Adjust your stance as needed, knee over top of the heel. Okay, right hip coming down and forward, right leg locked. Good. Now another thing in the setup is that sometimes we're in a side bend, okay? Spine straight in the center. So use the arms, reaching apart to help you find that length. And that is going to challenge your foundation. It's going to challenge your core muscles. It's going to keep you super strong in the foundation of your pose. Okay, spine straight in the center, stomach in, and reach the arms apart. And we're going to inhale to move both arms at the same time, bringing the elbow to the inside of the knee. Now that cue is, again, something that I see a whole variety of movements with. So our elbow to the knee is not the tricep muscle. So if you're feeling kind of the middle of your upper arm touching your knee, you've gone down too far in this pose, okay? So you want to make sure it's the elbow at the knee and not also like the middle of the forearm, okay? So really precise. In that position, it's not the top of the knee, right? It's a little bit inside, so you're kind of feeling that elbow pressing to the inside of the knee. And it's not too low. We don't want our torso collapsing into our thigh, right? We want a big gap there, elbow to knee, and not too high, okay? So that's our elbow position. Another thing when we start to move the arms and come into our posture is that we lift the hips as we move the arms. Okay, what we don't want to do is move those hips. We want to maintain our stance, really strong arms, long spine, and we're literally just moving the arms, moving the gaze, chin to the shoulder, elbow to the knee. Okay, you hold that stance. Good. So, once we have set up our foundation, another thing that happens here is that if we have any sort of tension in the neck or the shoulders or the upper back, spine, anywhere, then it can be challenging to touch your chin to the shoulder in that kind of setup once we first come into our pose. So another thing you can do to kind of explore that contact of your shoulder with your chin, let's come into the setup. So we're going to bend the knee, sit down, bounce. Yep, bounce. Get down a little lower, stay low, right leg locked, hips forward, stomach in. Keep the spine straight in the center, reach the arms. And now we're going to look over your right hand fingertips. Bring your shoulder to your chin. So what do you need to do here to bring your shoulder and your chin touching? Can you reach your arms more? Good, stretch across your shoulder, shoulder to chin. And now keep that contact, keep the gaze there. We're going to open the palms to the side and just rotate through the arms. Keep the gaze up. Past your fingertips, you're looking up. Good, stay low in your stance, elbow to knee. Now reach your arms up and down in opposite directions. So keep the torso lifted, no collapsing. Don't let your hips lift, stay low. Good, breathing here. Good, let's inhale to come up. Amazing. Okay, so that's gonna help to keep that position. We wanna find the neutral neck. So sometimes, the head comes back, we're kind of compressing into the back of the neck. So as much as possible, try to keep that neck long, okay? And your eye position is also gonna help to create the correct alignment in the neck. So you can use your gaze up towards the ceiling to help open up that neck properly, okay? All right, so building on from there, we've got our strong foundation. Reach the arms apart. We're gonna bend the knees, sit down and bounce. Good, bounce, stay low. Stretch your arms apart, spine straight. Now let's try with that same movement, chin to shoulder. Gazing past your fingertips. Good, stretch the arms apart. And then we're gonna move just the arms. Elbow to the inside of the knee. Stay low in your stance. Can you sit down a little deeper? Yeah, elbow to knee. Look up, reach up. Okay, so from here, sometimes what happens is the knee, left knee, starts to come inside, right? If the hips are tight, the growing muscles, the inner leg, then, that's not natural. So you're gonna press your knee towards your baby toe and try to find your big toe, second toe with your left hand fingertips. Okay, so, from the standing position, what we're trying to do here is keep from that knee turning in We want to keep the knee more stacked over the ankle, and we can use the arm pressing against the inside of the knee to help create that deeper stretch along the inner line of the leg into the groin, okay? So knee bent, elbow to knee, you're pressing slightly knee towards the baby toe, just a little bit. We don't want to overdo it until you can find your big toe, second toe. Now you don't want to drop your arm down to get the big toe, second toe. So more important is elbow to knee. And then eventually as you get deeper into your stance, into the hip flexibility, you're going to find that you can touch between your big toe, second toe, no problem, with your elbow at the knee, maintaining that same or the form throughout the rest of the body. So you're not compromising the alignment elsewhere to find the fingertips at the toes, okay? So let's bend the knee, sit down, stretch the arms apart, move the arms, chin to shoulder, look up to the ceiling. Good. Bending your left knee, sit down a little deeper. Good. Roll the right hip down and forward, try to sit down more, stomach is in. Now keep your elbow at the knee, not below, not too high, not too low, elbow to knee. Compress your knee slightly towards your baby toe. Try to get your fingertips between the big toe, second toe. Good. Right arm reach up, look up, chin to shoulder, touch it there. Now at the end, we turn and twist the upper body back like spine twisting posture. So we don't want to collapse our torso forward. We're opening up through the chest, and that creates a lift and a lengthening and opening through the rib cage and shoulders. Look up, reach up one more time, and inhale to come back up, straighten the leg, turn your toes in, step your right foot over to your left foot, exhale the arms down by your side. Awesome. So that's the triangle posture. Anytime that you feel like you're slipping with your feet, eventually you could do this posture on any surface, right? Even with a dry towel and your feet feeling kind of slippery, you can maintain it because it's all about stacking your bones and the proper engagement, okay? So as soon as you find that beautiful 90 degrees through the legs, you're rooting into the feet, and you're properly stacking and engaging through the right leg and the left leg, you're going to really build strength along the inner line of the legs so that you can hold this pose, on any surface, okay? So you just keep working into that foundation, and that's going to build the strength that you need to be able to hold this posture. Yeah. So I think that's kind of all the details. And, if you have any questions, you can always speak with us at the studio, talk to us before or after our live classes, or, once we open the doors again, before and after the classes. Now that you understand some of the posture dynamics a little bit more and the correct alignment, if you feel like you're kind of getting stuck with something, by all means, come and talk with us, okay? And, don't worry about getting it perfect. It's really just about understanding where you're going and then continuously working towards that. Okay, with time you get there, and the more that you can understand about the pose, the quicker you get to that destination. Awesome. So thanks for joining me today. And yeah, stay tuned for more of these posture breakdown videos. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Namaste.